Aloha Internet. Market close for Tuesday, October 14th, 2025, 4:04 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The market is closed. Let's take a look through our major markets here on the daily. These four representing the stock market. We see the Russell having the most green movement to the top of this range. Dow Jones kind of just like the beginning of the day getting stuck in there. But look at this big wick, this big shadow to the bottom. Same thing over here on the NASDAQ, but obviously it's red candle getting stuck in that price congestion right in there, support resistance area. Same thing with S&P 500. We got a pretty long wicks to the bottom at the moment. Now these candles are still live. I think they're going to be trading until maybe 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let's look at, okay, gold still moving up. Silver, a little red, but still above 50 bucks. Bitcoin still pulled back, but same thing. It's raising up a little bit. Look at this wick here. Oil still going down. The dollar kind of moving in a 4-day range, sort of sideways or so. And apparently there were some earnings reports. I've never got myself into a really good groove of putting trades on earning trades. But maybe for the old bubbles show, that would be good to do. J&J, looks like J&J reported a variety of stocks, Walgreen, Boots, and what else are we looking at? Let's look over here. I pulled these up for you. Okay. So we have a bunch of ETFs that are giving us a really good idea of what's going on in the stock market and different sectors of the stock market. So we've got the Qs for the NASDAQ, we got SPY for the S&P 500, we've got the Diamond DIA for the Dow Jones, and we got IWM for the Russell. We got the VIX, the futures of the VIX, and then below here, a lot of these different sector ETFs. With this one, I don't really think it's an ETF. Maybe it is an index for the transports. Let's go through these really quick. 1 year, 1 day. 1 year, 1 day, 1 year from left to right. 1 day per candle. We got a red 200-day moving average, a white 9 day. It's obviously exponential if you read here. 9 day and 20-day SMA. So Qs overall, on the year, they're up with the last 2 days. They're trying to regain this up momentum, but at the moment it's kind of reclimbing. We'll see if it continues this upward momentum. Let's look at the S&P 500. Sort of the same look. Diamonds, kind of the same look in a way, although this candle is much bigger, but and real choppy through here, but a little similar look. Also, similar here with a lot more power on this upward candle today. Communication stocks kind of got the same thing going on. Technology, the communication technology stocks, some of them are probably going to overlap. XLF for the financials, transports, kind of sideways to down. It's mainly, really in a big time frame, sideways. Oh, then energy overall. kind of doing the same sideways to down thing. Look at the 200-day moving average has even got a slow kind of a downward tilt to it. Real estate, same thing, kind of a sideways thing. Semiconductors, overall up, and same thing as a lot of those other stocks trying to like rebuild from inside of this drop since Friday. XLP consumer staples overall sideways. VIX after the spike up here on Friday, it's still closing in the upper top of that top of the upper top of that candle. However, I don't think reading candlestick charts of the VIX is going to be the same as stock charts. So I think it's going to have its own way to read it. Futures of the VIX, that's a little more on the proactive pointing up. And consumer discretionary is doing that same thing with a 3 bars, 2 bars inside of that Friday drop. This one happened to be on the bottom side of the short-term moving averages. Ooh, hanging down here low. Look at that. Which one is this? Healthcare. Healthcare ETF. Utilities looking pretty strong. Materials. Just like a kind of down, sideways to down, slight down. And back to the Qs. So we took a quick look at the whole stock market and what is the whole stock market doing? Well, I know it's going up, down, or sideways. And so now what we need to do, you need to do, I need to do as individual small investors is find lucrative trades, find ways to make money. Here are a variety of stocks that I personally like to trade. And we got the S&P 500 here, the VIX right here. This is 1 hour after hours, extended hours, whatever it's called. So it's an hourly chart. One red or green candle is going to represent an hour, and then the black is representing the trading day, and the grayish is representing between trading days. So we just ended one trading day. So uh, what are any low hanging trades going on? Well, I think a low hanging trade that's always going on is selling cash secured puts on stocks that you'd like to buy at a price that you'd like to pay for them. I think that's always something to be doing. Another thing to look into doing is building a dividend king portfolio. These two stocks right here, these are dividend kings every year for the last over 50 years. They've been raising their dividend just a little bit or sometimes a lot, but you got a built-in annual raise going on. And as long as it continues, it's not guaranteed to continue, but it's been continuing for over 50 years so far for some of these. And that buying these at a good price. How would you know a good price? Well, one thing that you can do, and it's not a be all end all, is you can, let's look at, instead of hourly chart, let's look at a daily chart. So now every red or green candle is going to be one day. Let's look at Coca-Cola. Now we're seeing 3 months from left to right, and maybe going on a bit of a bigger time frame. Let's look at the past 2 years. So in the past 2 years, where's Coca-Cola a good deal? We see lately it hasn't gotten much below 66. This is a really, based on today's prices, this seems like it's a pretty good deal down here, back in here. So again, it's not a be all end all way of doing it. There's definitely ways you could fine tune fundamental analysis But this is pretty easy looking at a stock chart and saying, hey, it seems like when it gets around this 66-ish range, I guess buyers must be stepping up because the price doesn't go down much more, and then eventually it's going up. How long is this going to last? We will see, but it did it right here around 68. Now it's doing it here around 66, which you could say is lower lows, consistent lower lows in that time frame. We're at a 2 year time frame. We also have low, low, higher low in a 2 year time frame. Sometimes it's a bit perspective, but this is, I think, a good stock for people to this one too. Find a price that you think is a good deal. I think in this morning's video we went over some of some of the fundamental things like Coca-Cola. You can go to FinViz, Coca-Cola. What's the enterprise value to EBITDA? A little high. What's the PEG ratio? Not bad, but a little bit higher than what I'm looking for. PE ratio, not bad. Is it profitable? It's a profitable company. Yes, it is. So there's ways to try to figure out like what price would I need it to be at to have an enterprise value over EBITDA of 10 or whatever the case may be. You can try to guesstimate value, trying to find value that way. There's things like um, I think it's called FinBox and Guru. Got these a couple of these things that I've used before where they are helping to pull up fundamental analysis type of information and sometimes just giving you through their algorithm giving you what they think the fair value of it is. You kind of try to get your own fair value going on, like at 50, 58 might be a good price, right? But we're only looking at 3 months of data. So let's go just in case you're relatively new to this stuff. Let's look at a bigger. Okay, look at a 2 year trend. What do we see? Left to right. Bam! This thing is up. It's been going up for the last 2 years. Money is flowing into this. So where would be a good price to buy at? Well, a real good price to buy. You know where a real good price to buy would be? How about $2? $2 would be a really good price to buy, wouldn't it? I would load up on $2. Am I going to get that good price to buy at? Probably not. When it came down here to 64, it started going back up. Back in here, it was bouncing around. The good price to buy seemed between, or at least the fair market price from what these shares are trading hands at these prices between like 58 and 60. You know, a little over, a little under, and it's kind of been going like that. So where now? I don't know. Also, what sort of position are you in to buy shares? Are you buying 100 shares? Are you buying one share? Do you have $300 and you're trying to see what you can get? If you have, I think the easiest way to do it is in one share or in shares increments of 100. If you have one share, then you can just kind of cherry pick different prices and slow process, of course. But you can put a limit order in to buy at a certain price and just wait and see what happens. If you can buy in 100 increments of 100 shares and around these pricing, you can be selling cash secured put options at different time frames, different strike prices. The further you go away from the strike price and the further you go out on time, the further you go away in strike price, the lower money you'll get for like a 30-day period. And so just in generally, the further you go away from the strike price, the more time you may need to sell in order to get a satisfactory fill price at some of these strike prices that are far away from the money. And something else that's been working pretty well that takes more market timing and a little bit higher of a price, but this stock right here has just really been on a tear. It almost hit $100 today. And if you notice, there were times when we see how it was kind of like pumped up, bumped up here, kind of fell down, re, re, retraced to a certain degree, but then kind of started going sideways around this 9 day moving average, and then boom, bumped up here. There's there are certain stocks that are going to be more prone to go up when the market's going up. It's not like they're going to necessarily be prone to go up forever, but at the current time, current marketplace, there's certain stocks like this happens to be one of them. In years in the past, maybe other stocks were doing that, but every sometimes stocks have their time in the light. This one, oh, I saw this one do it. I can't quite remember. I think I bought this one around 125, thinking it would hit 150, and sure enough, like I got out at 150. You could say left money on the table, and I could say, yeah, yeah, you're right. I got out at 150. It went higher. It probably could be going higher still, but that's okay. Here's the ending the bubble stock market show today with saying it's okay to make money. If you don't make as much money as you could have made, then either you number one, you might have done exactly the right thing, and number two, maybe you can improve the way you're doing things. But I've found more than one time that it was in my best interest to sell a little earlier to kind of ensure that I'm getting gonna have a sell or a close buy. Just do something a little earlier to close the position. I've found that sometimes that has really worked to my benefit. It's almost like you need to kind of like in some cases it is as if you're leaving enough meat on the bone to make that an enticing offer for someone else to say yes, I'll take that bone with that amount of meat on it. But if there's less than that much meat on it, maybe they won't take the bone. So uh, that's a very scientific approach. We see SMCI has really pulled back. I was wondering if it's going to make kind of like this cup and handle thing. I think to be an official cup and handle, I think it needs to be more up here, but it's kind of has this cup and handle type of look to it. But it really pulled back the last couple of days with the whole market. So there's going to be opportunities with things setting up like this where they're in an uptrend. As long as the market stays in an uptrend, we'll have to keep watching of what's going on with the market. But sooner or later, the market will be back in a strong uptrend. And sooner or later, there are going to be some stocks that are showing relative strength. And it's our job to be on top of which ones of those stocks are. And maybe sometimes the easiest thing to do is if a stock has relative strength, sell put options. Yeah, sometimes that's just an easy thing to do. You guys have a fantastic day. Aloha.